And I'll ask you something real interesting here, and I'll think it's something that will be on pretty much every media person's mind as we get ready for Washington and Philadelphia this weekend. Who do you think this game matters to more, Jalen Hurts or Carson Wentz? That's right, Brian. Here we go. Big Sil's National Football Show. Pull up a chair. Put your phone in the right place. Put us on your television, desktop, tablet. We appreciate everybody coming aboard. Any form you want to watch the show, have at it. We welcome you aboard with us, too. And we appreciate everybody that hits the like button each and every single day. I want to tell you who is immediately on the program at the bottom of the hour. Joe Theismann, former National Football League's most valuable player. We'll get his thoughts on Carson Wentz and also Jalen Hurts. Also does work for the NFL Network. So we'll have the former MVP at the bottom of the hour. Hey, real barn burner tonight. Get ready. Browns and Steelers. Yeah, but better yet, JAKIB Sports versus Mitchell Trubisky. You want to hear how many fans tuned into that thing on Amazon last Thursday? 13 million people. That's only going to grow. And for a guy like me that's on a show like this, that's awesome, baby. You're now streaming the NFL. You stream Big Sills. You stream JAKIB Media. It's great. By the way, it's football. It's football, man. You'll watch JAKIB Sports versus Mitchell Trubisky tonight. It's Steelers and Browns. You see, the one thing about the NFL, unlike any other league, it's not driven by its superstars. It's driven by its brands. That's why the league is different from baseball and basketball and hockey. The brands of the NFL. The Packers are in one of the smallest cities in the United States, and they're one of the biggest draws on television. Every time Green Bay plays, massive numbers. Nobody cares who the quarterback is. You kind of do. It adds a little bit more flair to the game. But people love football. Look at college football ratings that we see on weekends now. The brands of the NFL, okay? That's what rolls this league now. And that's what television networks know about the NFL. It's not so much who the quarterbacks are anymore. It's the Cowboys. Cooper Rush is now a star. He's a household name. The Dallas Cowboys have made Cooper Rush a brand name now because he's playing for the biggest brand in the country, maybe even in the world. That's what the NFL's power is. It's incredible. Watch this. I'm watching the game tonight. Okay? I'm watching the game tonight. All right. Let's go into this here. And I'll ask you something real interesting here, and I'll think it's something that will be on pretty much every media person's mind as we get ready for Washington and Philadelphia this weekend. Who do you think this game matters to more, Jalen Hurts or Carson Wentz? Hurts is playing for money. He's playing for money, respect, credibility. One night doesn't make an NFL season. I know some of you in Philly want to name him the greatest quarterback in the history of the organization. That's one moment in what's going to be and what looks like could be a great season for Philly. Carson Wentz, this is a redemption tour. This is a redemption tour. He's got to prove to people Philly and Indy were wrong. He's off to a great start. He's the number 2 quarterback in the NFL. I mean, he's off to a great start. How about this? Who would have ever thought that this weekend you have the top 2 quarterbacks in the NFL squaring off against one another, and their names are Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz? Like, shows you how crazy the league can be, man. Brian says definitely not Wentz. What's up, Carlos? Thanks for coming aboard. Appreciate everybody. I see you guys over here. Nick says Wentz has the records in Philly. He sure does. Single-season passing touchdown mark and seasonal yardage for quarterbacks. when it comes to yardage. Absolutely, he owns them all. And I'll make this point to you. I think Carson Wentz is the best quarterback that the Washington Commanders / Redskins have had maybe since Mark Rippon. Okay? Maybe since the guy who's going to be on at the bottom of the hour, Joe Theismann. I mean, I can't think of a guy who's thrown for 30 touchdowns in Washington history. I mean, you got to go back into the 60s. So to me, and by the way, for the record, not a real high bar when we're talking about those type of quarterbacks. Hey, Joe was the MVP, and he's my friend, and he won a Super Bowl. He's been on Super Bowl teams. Doug Williams won a Super Bowl. Rippon won a Super Bowl. I get it. I'm not showing any disrespect to those guys. Okay? JM goes, RG3 was better till he got hurt. I agree. Okay? I agree. Okay. You know, if I had to pick, who does this game mean more to? Hurts has got to have this in the back of his mind. You know, everyone thought, and they did a lot here for Carson Wentz. And I love the way Jalen Hurts has answered all the questions about Wentz. Boy, I'll tell you one more time here about Jalen Hurts. He says the right things. He does the right things. He acts appropriately. He acts like a franchise quarterback. Can he continue to play like one? He did it last year. Can he continue what he's done so far in these 2 games? To look the role of a franchise quarterback. He's doing this. Kudos. There's nothing he has done in the first 2 weeks that I'm down on. You really analyze what he's done, he's really focused and walking forward. I'm thinking about Minnesota now. It's all about Washington. He's answering it correctly. Great respect for Carson Wentz. Even if he doesn't, don't say it. There's no need for it. Both guys are trying to downplay the game because it's a team sport. Okay? Both, no question, want to win this game this weekend. That's a tough one, man. Who does this game mean more to? Because, hey, if Hurts wins this game, he's 3-0. You're going to start talking $40 million. See, there's a money thing around Jalen Hurts right now. What do you pay that guy if he continues the trend that he's on? What's the ceiling for him? Is he my guy? All of that still early part of the season are still questions that have to be answered. Minnesota didn't answer anything. But Minnesota made you do this. This is what that Minnesota game meant to me for Jalen Hurts' career. Okay. Maybe the conversation's real. Maybe it's real that he's the face of the franchise and the future of the franchise. You want to see quarterbacks go out there each and every single Sunday and play like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. That's what you want to see every single week. Can he do it? So far, he has. On Carson Wentz's side, look at all the people that talk crap on him. By the way, and I've been saying this to you guys for the last couple days, Matt Ryan and the Colts look like a worse team without Carson Wentz. Okay? I know you don't want to go there, but unfortunately, without a doubt, the Colts don't look better without Wentz. They do not. Again, still early in the season for Indy. Can they turn it around? We'll see. But if he continues the way he's playing, he may change some doubters' minds. See how it plays out. Both guys need this game on Sunday. Both guys, personally, need this game. It's a divisional game as well. So if I had to pick, I probably think Wentz needs it more. Wentz needs it more. 2 teams have already said you ain't the guy. Jalen's in the process of nailing down a job. Nice performance on Monday. Great performance. I thought even better because he did what it took to win against Detroit. Nice start for both, but I think Carson Wentz needs this game the most, okay? All right. Let me move on to this, and let me take some of your thoughts here. What's up with Frank Reich? I think Frank didn't want to move off of Carson Wentz. Okay? Now the Vikings are trashed, Dan. Never said that in a million years. I think the Vikings are still going to make the playoffs and are going to contend in that division in the NFC North. Absolutely horrible take, Steven. Never said that. As a matter of fact, I made conviction on that the following day after that Monday night game that I can't build them up and then all of a sudden trash them. Absolutely dumb and made up and fake news. Is Indy more of a result of losing Wentz or losing their DC? Chris, maybe both. Viking defense was ranked almost last year. Great take, Vlad. The offense had the least amount of turnovers of any NFL team. It wasn't the offense, but it was the offense and the defense, in my opinion, that collided on Monday for that poor performance, and it was also the Eagles laying it on them. Peterson has lost, in my opinion. I think he's lost a step in Minnesota. Jacob says, what if Jalen gets the Eagles into the playoffs, then gets hurt and Minshew wins the Super Bowl? Hey, Jacob, don't put that juju on anybody, okay? Don't put that juju on anybody here. I'm going to get to Jalen here in a second. I got a question to ask you, okay? You said Vikings will light it up and JJ get 180 yards. I did, GT. I was wrong. One more time. Last time I'll say it. Kyle says, Sills, did you see Carson Wentz said that Philly's defense is nothing exotic? He's right. There's nothing special about that defense. They don't have complex blitzes. They don't bring and give you exotic stunts and such. He's right. Okay? He's right. That's not a lie. No one on the planet would just say that's an defense, 36, or a Ravens defense. Nobody would say that. Heard Benjamin Simmons' interview. Hey, listen. I personally think, there's no doubt this is going to be a very interesting ball game, to say the least here, okay? To say the least here. Okay. Xander, how we doing, man? Are we okay? Some people are saying that we're frozen here. Are we all right here? Let's see, because we've had some technical issues today. It's back? Okay, good. Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for keeping us updated on that. Let me ask you another question here. You know, I've been very critical of the offensive coaching and the defensive coaching here in Philadelphia. I've been very critical of it. How good are the Eagles doing right now in coaching Jalen Hurts? How good do you think that Shane Steichen and Nick Sirianni are doing with Jalen? Give me a grade what you think they're doing with them so far. How do you think they're coaching Jalen Hurts? I'm going to give you my take here in a minute. By the way, I'm going to get Joe Theismann's thoughts on Jalen Hurts too at the bottom of the hour. Okay? C minus. A, Showtime. The job that you think they've done in preparing him and elevating his game, how much do you give the coaches for where his ability is carrying him so far this year? B, B plus, B plus, LAC 215. They are doing a B minus a B, but Hurts put in the work over the offseason himself. Not taking nothing away from Jalen here. I'm not a Hurts guy, says Kyle. But you keep talking about a dude that's not even on the team. You're playing him, idiot. It's Washington and Philly this week. In case you haven't seen the schedule, it's Washington and Philly. And it's a divisional game. Maybe you didn't get the memo that Carson Wentz is the starting quarterback in Washington. Okay? Leave the content to me, kid. Or take the rest of the day off. B, let me tell you what I think they're doing. I've told you, I think the offensive side of the football, okay? I think the offensive side of the football is further ahead than the defensive coaches are, and I think there's a better group of coaches on the offensive side, okay? And they're customizing an offense around him. And I'm going to tell you where that comes from. That comes from Frank Reich's coaching of Shane Steichen. And this is why Nick Sirianni got the job in Philly. They customized, and it's taking them a year. Wouldn't you agree that it's probably taken the Philadelphia coaching staff a year to figure out who Jalen Hurts is? Hell, some people in the league still don't know how to quantify him. Don't you think it's taken them some time to figure out who he is? You got to understand something about Frank. I've known Frank 42 years. Frank just doesn't have an offensive game plan. He customizes game plans, and you know where he got that from? The Kelly gun. He was taught that by Marv Levy and by Jim Kelly. You can't just have an offensive game plan and go out there and ask Jim Kelly to run it. You customize it to people's personalities and also customize it to their strengths. Look at what he did. Hey, guys, do me a favor. People in Philly, do me a favor. Was the game plan, you tell me, because I wasn't here watching it. You tell me, was the game plan different for Carson Wentz than it was for Nick when Nick came in? Were there changes in how they approached winning ball games once Nick got the job after Carson got hurt? Because what Frank does is he customizes offenses. Like he'll probably have the same setup in Indy for Matt Ryan. Okay, but it'll have a lot of nuances. Chalk it up sports, hell yes. It definitely was. Absolutely. Chill J says yes. Okay, so this is what they've done here, the coaches. They've had to figure out who he is, right? And it's taken them a little time to figure out who he is. And now that's what you're seeing. This is what you're seeing. You're seeing a customized game plan. Quite frankly, they run the ball out of shotgun. How many teams run the ball out of shotgun? 3? 2? Nobody runs the ball out of shotgun. But Jalen has the ability, along with that offensive line, to do that. The versatility that you have now in being able to attack teams, that's from the coaching staff. That's from Shane Steichen and also Nick Sirianni working on a game plan to fit the strengths of what they have in front of them. It's pretty good, man. I went back and watched the 22, and you can see it. The offense, compared to the 2-5 start of a year ago, even in the situational play calling, it's different. And what GT just said, and you have a confident guy in the pocket now in Jalen Hurts, and you're right, GT. He's feeling more comfortable because why do you think he's feeling more he's feeling more comfortable because he understands what they're asking him to do. Okay? It's because running out of shotgun is a spread offense concept. Razor, Joe Montana never ran out of a spread. They've added that dynamic. Spread offenses, okay, that's what John Gruden does. Derek Carr doesn't run out of a spread offense. Jalen does. See, coaches like Gruden and Bill Walsh and guys like that immediately wanted to spread you out with their great wide receivers and their quarterback. This guy spreads you out also that if it's third and long, what becomes part of the dynamic on the defending, you got to defend him getting out in the perimeter. You're not going to have to defend in a spread offense Derek Carr on 3rd and 8. Derek Carr's not part of that conversation on 3rd and 8. In Philly, Hurts is. That's a different dynamic. When you're talking, Brett Favre was not an element in 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 12 in Green Bay when Mike Holmgren was running the spread offense. Green Bay ran a spread. They ran the spread offense. The quarterback wasn't a factor in that. Okay, was not. Razor says that, okay, Razor said the spread offense guy was developed by Bill Walsh. He wrote a damn book on it. Are you kidding me? Where do you think Holmgren got it from? West Coast is spread. Oh, my God. Read a book. West Coast offense is spread. Okay, you guys are right. Again, end of the day. One thing is for sure. They've customized this, and I got to give them some kudos here. Okay? I've got to give them some kudos for how they're coaching the kid. And they're doing a great job coaching him right now in these first 2 games. That's fantastic stuff there. All right, let me go on to this. Let's transition over here before we get Joe Theismann on. Let me ask you this. Who has to be the key for the success for the Eagles on Sunday? Don't pick one of the quarterbacks. We know that both quarterbacks have to play huge for either the Commanders or the Eagles to win on Sunday. Outside of the quarterback play, who has to play and who has to be big on Sunday? Let's take it from an Eagles standpoint. What's the one thing you want to do on Sunday? What's the one thing you want to do on Sunday? You have got to move Carson Wentz around. You've got to pressure him. You have got to get to him. You know, and I'm going to agree with Wentz. I still think Jonathan Gannon's defense is very vanilla. I don't see a lot of creativity. As far as I'm concerned, the guy stepped up on Monday and played great inside that system and won in spite of the coach. You hear me? I think those guys won in spite of Gannon. I'm not sold on Jonathan Gannon. Hey, if I'm critical of Jalen Hurts after 1 game, okay, or 2 games, and I'm still critical of whether or not he's the future of the team, I'm not giving Jonathan Gannon any pats on the back here. I still thought he was vanilla. Jalen was spectacular on Monday. This guy here, I don't know. I think the guys played great. They played a lot better than they did against Detroit. That was my takeaway. Okay? 205 says you blitz all night. Dude, I think you've got to bring pressure on this guy. I think you've got to get to him. Look at what Detroit did. If you go back and you watch that Detroit game, go back and watch it if you get a chance to watch the Detroit game. Look at what Aiden Hutchinson did in the first half compared to what they did in the second half. They didn't have the pressure in the second half, and Wentz was 21 of 29 for 278 and 2 touchdowns because they weren't getting to him. All of a sudden, the pressure fell off the map. I think it was because Hutchinson had an ankle injury or something, but they didn't get to him like they did when it came to the first half. It was completely different. And when they tried to get to him, it was almost like they weren't really conditioned to do it. And, hey, I watched Hard Knocks too. I thought Dan Campbell had that team rocking and rolling and ready to play. But in the second half in that game, they couldn't get to them. And they couldn't get the pressure. There were sustained drives, and Wentz was able to sit back there in the pocket. And when you watched what he did, 21 of 29, 278, 2 touchdowns, Hey, man, that put them in the game. That made a game of it. I mean, they were down 20-some-odd to nothing going into the halftime. They were getting killed. But yet Detroit let them back in because they let off the gas pedal when it came to pressure. They felt they had the game won all of a sudden, and you can't do that with an arm in the NFL. He's going to throw them back into games. We see that everywhere. No lead is safe against any team any longer in the NFL because most of these quarterbacks can throw you back into games. They've got to get to him. That means Hassan Reddick's got to show up, man. Where is this guy? You could put his face on a milk carton. Come on, guy. I'm starting to do this. I now know why two teams have let him walk out the building. I don't see it. You talk about statistics on football teams that had no impact. Hassan Reddick's statistics have had no impact. I don't see it. You're on a team now that can win the NFC, and you're being asked to go out there. And by the way, you're being paid like an elite pass rusher, and you're not it, kid. You know, and by the way, you know, I'm telling you to move the guy. Dude, get out there and play. Get out there and rush the passer. What are you doing? No excuses. You don't get any. And you know why you don't get any? You're making $15 million a year. Get the hell out there and play some ball, dude. Okay? Reddick gets him in bunches. He better start because he's 0-2. This guy's got 2 donuts going right now. Man, come on now, guy. Vegas got a 6.5 in their house. That sounds about right. I think their offensive line is not very good. We'll talk to Joe Theismann here in a second. Okay? Human's right. Stop dropping that dude in coverage. You're taking pass rush opportunities away from him. Do you know that most teams, they probably are in what? They're probably in spread sets 70% of the time. Dude, rush this guy. Dropping him in coverage, covering tight ends and backs. Hassan Reddick has got to be a factor. Josh Sweat's got to be a factor. There's got to be some pass rushers get to them. And by the way, the D-line better own this Washington team. You're better. I don't think Washington is very good. I think they got a couple players as tackles in there that's pretty good. They got a guard that's in there that's not bad. How they let Trent Williams go is remarkable because Trent Williams on that team would have made Washington a formidable team. And you let that guy walk out the building to San Francisco. I'll never understand that. I will not understand that. So you better dominate. I'll tell you this. Minnesota has a better O-line, and I don't really think Minnesota's O-line is all that. The best O-line that the Eagles have played have been the Lions. This is the third worst, and they should dominate. If you don't see big numbers from Hargrave and Fletcher and Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat, it's a letdown. And divisional games off of a Monday night on the road, I hear you guys on 6.5, and I agree with it. But boy, I'll tell you, man, anytime it's a divisional football game, we talked to Doc Walker yesterday, there's always something about common opponent that you will always have to deal with because when I played against the Saints and I was in the NFC South, you know why that Saints game is always so close? Common opponent. Or when you play Atlanta, and back in the day, we didn't have Carolina, so we had the NFC, we were in the NFC Central Division. So we had the Bears and the Vikings that we had to deal with. Those games were always close, even when I was on the sorry-ass Bucks.